I'm here with you, Rina, and we appreciate you being here to tell the story of your family, what their life was like before they came to Israel, the struggles and trials and tribulations, and also the beautiful story eventually after resettling in Israel. But tell us, where did your family come from?
Okay, my family came from Iraq, Baghdad, Iraq. Uh, the capital of Iraq is Baghdad, and my family didn't come on their own. They kicked them out in 24 hours. Just take one suitcase and get whatever you can. They have to leave.
Why did they kick them out?
It was a independent day in Israel in 1948. So they didn't like the idea that Israel established and there's a Jewish state now. So they didn't want them there. So they told them to have to leave in 24 hours, take just one suitcase and leave. Leave behind you anything. Don't take nothing. No money. They left the business behind them, the houses.
What was it like before 1948? What you heard about your family in Baghdad?
They were okay basically. Here and there it was some kind of pogrom, and they have sometimes Arab people tell them what's going on, so they prepare. They tell them go get some food, be careful, stuff like that. And my parents had a neighbor. She was Hajia. Hajia is a title for somebody who goes to Mecca in Saudi Arabia and get the title. For men is Haji, for women is Hajia. So she was very nice to my family, and she was friend with them, and they get together and they have good time together. And my family had a business. My father used to own a franchise of stores.
What kind of stores?
Clothes, dishes,
like a
home goods.
Department store kind of?
Yeah, something like Walmart or something like that. Walmart in America, stuff like that. And they have money, they have good life, they have friends, they celebrate the holidays, not openly, but they were comfortable, and nobody never thought to leave Iraq and go anywhere.
They lived there for thousands of years, actually.
Yeah, that's generation of generation, they were there. So they left Iraq.
Tell me some of the stories before they left. You were telling me before we started about a relative who was in the shower.
Okay. It was something very, very disturbing. My great-grand aunt was killed in a shower. It was pogrom, and she was home alone. Everybody went to work, and they broke into the house and killed her.
Just because she was Jewish?
Because she was Jewish, yes. They were looking for Jewish people to kill them, like what they did in October 7, something like that. But it wasn't a lot here and there, but a lot of people suffering for all those years. So when the family came home from work, they discovered she's bleeding to death, and she died. They cannot even save her. This was awful. And they stayed there because they didn't have any choice. But after a while, when Israel established, they kicked them out.
What year did they come to Israel?
They came, I think, 1950 or 51.
And where did they go to? Where did they come in Israel? Where did they settle in Israel?
Okay. My parents were in Haifa. They were like outside how do you call they gave them tent. They stayed in a tent. And okay, there was no water, no electricity, no food. It was really very difficult. So my mother,
And these are people that had plenty of money and a nice house before they had to leave with only one suitcase.
okay, that's what happened. All of a sudden, from all this life, good life and comfortable life, they own one suitcase, a little bit clothes, and they put them in a tent to live like that. Like I said, no electricity, no food, no nothing. But my mother and my father were very strong people, like all the Jewish people. We are strong, and we rising from the ashes. We never complain, like the Hamas and Palestinian complaining all the time, instead to build their own life and blaming Israel about everything. And the people survived the Holocaust. They went to Israel and built wonderful life. And if people see what Israel is today, from what the people went through hell, so they should adore them and appreciate Israel. Israel contribute to the world, medicine, science, agriculture, technology, everything. And what the Arab and the Palestinian contribute to the world, except hateful and terrorist. Why the people in the world don't see that? Why they see negative in Israel? Because we are Jewish, we are Israeli. Anytime, any disaster in the world, Israel is the first to help. Why they don't appreciate that?
And these are people, it's very important points that you're raising, and very true. And how did your family, and many other families, but especially your family, how did they start a new life? What did they do?
Okay, slowly but surely, they have patience. The government start to ease the situation and start to give some jobs here and there. My father was a journalist, and he was writing private.
And he was not a journalist in Iraq, or he was also a journalist in Iraq?
My father always liked to write. He was writing.
In what language was he writing?
Arabic and English. He used to write in Arabic and English. And eventually my father started to teach student English. And that's why we learn English from him. He teaches us English, and I really wanted to learn another language. And I was very determined to learn English. So I know English from home, basically.
Interesting.
But when I came to America, it was a little bit different, because my father teaches us British accent and British English. And it was so different to learn different accent and different English.
So did he become a journalist?
Yeah, he became a journalist. He was writing. But unfortunately, it wasn't that simple. So he concentrated to teach English. So he was English teacher. He teach English. My mother was a very unique woman. She was a rock of our family. She took good care for all of us. Like I said, there was no water, no electricity, but she knew how to manage in the dark and without water. So I don't know, it's so funny. Once a week we used to take a shower. She used to warm up water in a bucket with no light. I don't know how you call this.
A little stove, maybe?
A little stove. It goes on gas or something, and everything on one. She'd cook, she'd clean, she did everything.
You remember living in the tent?
Yeah.
How old were you when you were able to? At what age was your family able to leave the tent and go into an apartment?
Okay. It took about almost 10 years to be in a tent. So my sisters and my brothers and all of us moved to one bedroom apartment.
Were all of your siblings born in Israel, or were some of them born
we
before?
are 6th generation in Israel. And like I said, my family managed to survive in really difficult time, and not just our family, most of the people there, but we grew up in a very, very friendly neighborhood. Everybody came from Romania, Poland, Russia, Egypt, Yemen, Moroccan. It was potluck. It was
Jews from all over the world.
Jews from all over the world,
And
and
how did
everybody.
they got along?
Yeah, we got along. I don't know how we were talking with each other, but eventually we start to learn Hebrew, and we communicate in Hebrew.
Did you learn? Was your first language Arabic or?
Yeah, my first language was Arabic. My parents spoke with us Arabic.
Do you still remember Arabic?
I still remember a little bit, but not too much, because when you don't use it, you lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So the people was cooking, everybody cooking their culture food, and we were used to share the food. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Iraqi food, kubba,
Mm-hmm.
and this is
Lafa.
lafa. Yeah, you know, lafa. All kind of food, special soup. Well, I remember a lot, and a lot of people, a lot of food, wrapping food with all kind of vegetables. My mother was really good cook, and she spent all day in the kitchen, and I didn't get it. I used to tell her, "Why are you so long in the kitchen? What are you doing?" So we were 7 people, 5 kids, and father and mother. It's a lot of work. And she cooked, she cleaned, she took care for us. She was a very strong woman. And now when I cook, I think about her, how long time you spend in the kitchen. It's not just to cook.
And it wasn't a fancy kitchen either.
Yeah,
it's a very simple
not fancy.
kitchen. And when you moved to like a 1 room?
Yeah, so we moved to an apartment, 1 bedroom for all of us.
How did you, but that must have seemed like the best thing in the
Yeah,
world.
my mother used to say something, when you love each other, you manage. So all the girls, we were 3 girls, we used to sleep in 1 bed.
Wow.
1 bed, 3 of us. My oldest brother, he slept in a balcony. My father made something like a room for him, so he has a bed there. My little brother he sleep on a folding bed in a living room. Basically, it was living room and 1 bedroom, and my parents slept in another bedroom, and most of the activity was in the kitchen area. So it was very difficult time, but we loved each other, we cared for each other. We went to school, we went to work, we become really good people, taking care for each other. And the neighborhood also was very warm and nice people. I remember when my mother used to go give birth and has to go to the hospital, there's no question, everybody took care for each other. They feed us, they give us shower, they took care for us.
In the neighborhood?
Neighborhood, yeah. No,
Were there also...
You don't have to pay anything.
You had all these different Jewish people in your neighborhood from all different backgrounds. Did you also have Arab people in your neighborhood in Haifa?
In our neighborhood, we didn't have Arab, but when I went to school, it was, after school, it was a club like JCC or something like that. We used to dance there, we used to have a lot of activities, so it was Arab and Druze and all kind, and we get along wonderful, we love each other, we care for each other. We didn't have any problems with them, they didn't have any problems with us. And my aunt lived in Haifa, in a city. She lived upstairs, and downstairs was restaurant and stores, Arab stores, and there was, how you say it, doing nargila. I don't know how you say it here.
Nargila is smoking a water bong, tobacco water bong.
It's funny, something funny, but they like to smoke this. And Oh, they say hi to us, they like us. My aunt lives there among them, and they had a wonderful life, no problems at all. And then when I grew up, I was working um, in a boarding school in Haifa, and was Arab and Jewish together. And
And these are
the student get along together. The parents used to come to visit. They always bring some vegetables or fruit from their garden. And they respect us, we respect each other, we didn't have any troubles. We care for each other. We are not bad people that they try to make us bad people.
this and those were Arab and Druze Israelis.
Yeah, there were Arabs in Israel, Jews, and by the way, if you don't know, if people don't know, there's still Arab villages there. They have restaurants, they have business, they are lawyers, they are doctors, they go to universities, pharmacists, everything. Nobody stopped them, nobody harassed them, nobody bothered them. And they are happy.
It's true. When Israel started, there were less than, or about 200,000 Arabs that stayed and didn't leave. They stayed, and now there's 2 million Arabs inside of Israel who are really, many of them very successful. 50% of the pharmacists in Israel are Arabs, and 30% of the doctors, and they're only 22% of the population. So they're overrepresented in a nice way. Tell about the people who call themselves Palestinians and what you've seen happen over the years and what you see happening now, and how does that fit in to your experience and your identity?
Okay. The people you mean people in Gaza or people?
People in Gaza and the West Bank. Did you have any interaction or experience with that personally with people in the territories?
No, I don't have any problems because we didn't live in the south. We lived in Haifa, and after I went to the service, I moved to the center in Tel Aviv, suburban of Tel Aviv, a city called Ramat Gan, and I didn't have any problems. But we go to Yafo. There's a lot of Arab restaurant. We love the food. And we go there and they respect us, we respect them, no problems. They're walking, they're talking, nobody has trouble. And by the way, I remember it was a British journalist. He went to Israel and he went to Yafo in the beach, and he asked Arab people, do you think you want to move to Gaza? None of them want to move there. They said, we are happy here, we want to stay here.
We want to stay in Israel. So when you see the news, and here we are in a war, and the world is saying horrible things about Israel that are not true, how do you feel about what's happening and what you see? What are your thoughts on the war and what has happened with the people from Gaza?
Okay. I see very sad situation. It's sad for Gaza, it's sad for the Jewish, but they should blame Hamas. The only people should blame is Hamas and themselves. They brought it on themselves, they elected Hamas. If you elected Hamas, what the hell you want? Okay? And Hamas killing them to show the world that Israel killing the massacred people, and it's not truth. Absolutely not truth, and I don't know why the people don't understand this, don't believe that. They're hiding among children and civilians.
The Hamas is hiding.
Hamas. They're hiding around buildings, and they're shielding themselves among people, and they kill them for propaganda. Israel never killed people on purpose, and the world needs to know that. I was in a service. I serve in a service. They never told us to kill innocent people. Never. And that's not good. They should ask Hamas to stop the war because they start the war. They're always killing people. I don't know, people forgot what happened in a year, late 1990 to beginning of 2000. they used to they used to have suicide bomb, killing people in the street, in the buses, even in the hotel when it was Pesach, Passover. They killed 30 people in a hotel. Among them was Holocaust survivor. Why? Just for fun. Just for fun to kill people. They don't have value of life or people. And Israel never killed people on purpose. And what happened there, the Hamas wearing civilian clothes. So they make believe that Israel killing civilian. Okay? And not just this, they're using kids and train the kids, young children, to kill. They train the kids to hate Israel, hate. They train the kids to use guns, ammunition and everything. And the world doesn't see that? Where are you people? Why you don't see the truth?
When you hear about Palestinian refugees, when you hear the talk about Palestinian refugees, and you think of your own family, the Jewish refugees from Arab countries, Muslim countries, so many, actually more, close to 1 million Jewish refugees, original Jewish refugees, and now the majority of Israelis come from Arab and Muslim countries. The majority of Israel.
The majority.
It's actually the majority. It's more than 50% of Israelis.
Okay.
Their family come from the Middle East. What do you think when you hear about the Palestinian refugees, and you think about your own family who are refugees?
Yeah. Our family was refugee, and they went through difficult time, like I said before. And those refugees, you mean where the war taking them? Most of Europe took them, and they have wonderful life. They get everything, and they betray the people. They become also terrorists. They're killing. They're doing everything they want. I'm not saying about all of them, but they took them. They didn't even check them. So how do you know who is terrorist or who is good people? And
what about the people in Gaza and the West Bank who say that they are refugees? They're Palestinian refugees, and they live in refugee camps in Gaza and the West Bank.
They are not refugees. They have good life. If they want, they can build wonderful life like the Jewish people build beautiful life. They can have wonderful life and stop being victim. Stop being victim and see what Israel doing. They can build beautiful life and stop using this language. We are refugee, we are poor, we don't have food, we don't have this. They have food. They have food. I see them. Nobody's skinny. Like the people in the Holocaust was skinny. They didn't have food, nothing. And whatever you give them, they give them one finger, they want the whole hand. They are not starving. They're okay. People take care for them.
And they could be building their life, and they choose to not. Yeah. They choose to hate.
They could choose better life and have wonderful life and live life.
Do you think there will be a better chapter in the future, or no?
You know what Golda said?
What did she say?
She said, as long as the Palestinian and Arabs love their children, they will stop the war, they stop everything, they will love other people. This Golda said that, and it's true. Because they teach the kids to hate since they are in a wound. They teach them how many people at school, like it was in a field, five soldiers, 10 soldiers, and five of them killed. How many soldiers got killed?
This and that's a math lesson.
The math, yes, math about Jewish soldiers. So they teach them to hate, to kill.
So you're not very optimistic about the future, it sounds like.
I tell you why I'm optimistic. I will be optimistic if the world intervene and tell them stop hate and use different method and different things, just stop hate and build your life. Of course, but they choose hateful. They don't want to change. Why you don't want to change?
Rina, thank you so much for sharing your story, your perspective, which is so important to the story of the Jewish people and the story for the world, my prayers are with you, and we're all appreciative of sharing these important words with our listeners, with our audience. And we just pray that you will not have to listen to news like this anymore. We pray that we have better and better news every day.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Avi.